To plant a garden is to believe in tomorrow. Plant trees, save earth. Welcome to Anita's Biology. In this video, we'll be seeing asexual reproduction in plants from Chapter 1, Plus 2 Botany, Tamil Nadu State Board syllabus. Reproduction. So, reproduction is a biological process by which new offspring individuals are produced by their parents. It involves the transmission of genetic material from one generation to the next generation, and also it is a fundamental feature of all known life, and it is an important process for the existence of all the species. So reproduction ensures the survival of the species over a long period of time, even though individual remains, that is the individual members may die. So reproduction is one of the attributes of living things and also plays an important role in the evolution. Considering this, organisms have evolved a variety of methods of reproduction which fall under two main types. The two in plants, that is asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. So what is asexual reproduction? It is the reproduction by a single organism or single individual without production and fusion of gametes. It results in the production of genetically identical offspring. Coming to sexual reproduction, it involves the fusion of two gametes to form a zygote which develops into a new organism, and also it leads to genetic variation. So the difference between the asexual and the sexual reproduction is very important and it is to be kept in mind. In this video, we will be seeing about the asexual reproduction. So mostly this asexual reproduction is uniparental and it does not involve formation of gametes and there is no fertilization process also. And it includes only mitotic division and hence the resulting offsprings are genetically similar to the parent. And hence the identical offsprings from a single parent is referred to as the clones, CLONES, clones. So in lower organisms, you can see some of the example. Formation of conidia, that is, it can be seen in Aspergillus and Penicillium. Next is budding. So budding is, this is also a form of asexual reproduction in which a new individual is produced as an outgrowth. So it's like a bud from the parent and later it is released as an independent identical copy of the parent. And budding is seen in the unicellular fungi like yeast, that is we call it as Saccharomyces, and also in Hydra in animal kingdom. Next is fragmentation. This is also a type of asexual reproduction where the body of the parent breaks into fragments, that is into pieces, each of which can develop into a new individual. So reproduction by fragmentation is a common method of reproduction in filamentous algae like Spirogyra. Next is production of gemma. That is, this can be seen in the bryophytes. Example is Marchantia, wherein gemma cups will be formed on the surface of the plant body. When the gemma cups get detached, they get separated and later on forms a new plant. Next is binary fission. Binary fission is just that the bacterial cell will just divide into two equal size and later on forms a new bacterial cells. Next is regeneration. Regeneration is the natural process of replacing or restoring damaged or missing cells, tissues, organs, and even the entire body parts to function in plants and animals. So here example given is planaria, where it splits and then each split body will regenerate into another animal body. Example is planaria. So these are all some of the examples of the asexual reproduction in lower organism. Next is asexual reproduction in higher plants. So in this first we'll be seeing about the vegetative reproduction in that natural method. Actually there are two methods. One is natural method and another is the artificial method. First we'll see about the natural method. So the natural method of reproduction is a form of asexual reproduction where bud grows and develops into a new plant. So the buds may be formed in organs such as root, stem and even leaf. So this bud, when it gets detached from the parent plant, it will start to develop into a new plant. So sometimes the organs involved in the vegetative reproduction also serves as organs of storage and perennation. So the unit of reproductive structures that is used in propagation is called as the reproductive propagules or diaspores. Reproductive propagules or diaspores. So this vegetative reproduction by natural method exists in three different organs of the plant like root, stem and leaf. First we'll see about the root. So the roots of some plants will develop vegetative or adventitious buds on them. And examples given are Morea. Morea is the curry leaf. Then you can see Dalbergia as an example and Millingtonia also as an example. Some tuberous adventitious roots apart from developing buds also store food. Examples are Ipomea batatas and Dahlia. So Ipomea batatas is the sweet potato. So these roots possessing buds become detached from the parent plant and grow into independent plant under suitable conditions. Next is vegetative reproduction in stem. So this is very much familiar to everyone, and mostly the underground stem and the subaerial stem modifications are seen, and axillary buds from the nodes of rhizome and dies of tuber give rise to the new plants. So there are some examples. First we'll see about the rhizome. So rhizome is a horizontally growing underground stem. It bears nodes, internodes, scale leaves, buds and adventitious roots. So a piece of rhizome with a bud is capable of growing into a new plant. So examples are Musa paradisiaca, that is banana. Then Gingiber officinale is the ginger. Then another example is turmeric, that is Curcuma longa. The next is corm. What is corm? It is a stout, swollen, fleshy, vertically compressed underground stem. So it contains heavy deposits of food material and often grows into a considerable size. And these adventitious buds which develop from the corm are capable of growing into new plants. So examples are Amorphophallus and another example is Colocasia. Next is tuber. Tuber is an underground stem swollen by food storage and possesses nodes, internodes, scaly leaves and buds. So it has on its surface a number of eyes. So that eye is a presence of the node with scale leaf and an axillary bud. So which later on grow into a new plant. So example is Solanum tuberosum, that is potato. The next is bulb. So what is bulb? Bulb is an underground modified stem consisting of a shortened convex stem with a terminal bud and numerous fleshy storage leaves. The bulb contains axillary buds that can grow into a new plant. Example is onion, that is Allium cepa, and another example is lilium, that is lily flower. The next subaerial stem modifications also are present. That is, the first one we'll see about the runner. So what is runner? Runner is a slender, horizontally growing branch. That is the internodal region. So in the ground level, and it arises as an axillary bud and creeps into the ground level some distance away from the mother plant, then strikes roots. When runners break off from the mother plant, it results in an independent daughter plant. Examples given are Centella asiatica. The next is stolon. So the stolon, the term which has been variously used, is more commonly applied to a special type of runner which do not grow horizontally but forms an arch. So examples are mentha and strawberry, that is Fragaria is strawberry. The next is offset. So it is also like a runner, an axillary bud growing from the axil of a leaf. But offset is shorter and thicker, and it is a short prostrate branch with a tuft of leaf at its apex. So the offsets are produced in rosette type of plants like Eichhornia, that is water hyacinth, and Pistia, that is the water lettuce. Both of these are floating hydrophytes. That is Pistia and Eichhornia are the floating hydrophytes. Next is sucker. So it is also like a runner and is also a lateral branch but developing from the underground part of the stem. So it grows obliquely upwards and gives rise to a leafy shoot or a new plant by striking roots. And these sucker may grow horizontally outwards as in chrysanthemum or it may be shorter and stouter as in banana also. The next examples are bulbils. that can be seen in Dioscorea and agave. So this bulbil is a modification of a whole bud into a swollen multicellular structure which serves for the propagation. When the bulbil gets detached from the parent plant and it falls to the ground, it grows into a new plant. So in Dioscorea bulbifera, the bulbils are modified into axillary buds, whereas in agave, you can see the flower buds get modified into the bulbil. Next, vegetative reproduction in leaf. So in some plants, adventitious buds are developed on the leaves also. So when these adventitious buds get detached from the parent plant, they grow into a new individual plants. Example, Bryophyllum, Celia and Begonia. So this picture is the Bryophyllum leaf where you can see buds on the margin. So in Bryophyllum, the leaf is succulent and it's notched on its margin. And you can see adventitious buds developing at the notches, and these buds are called as the epiphyllous buds. So they develop into a new plants forming a root system and become independent plant when the leaf gets decayed. So this this plant is the begonia. So next is Celia, is a bulbous plant and grows in sandy soil, and the foliage leaves are long and narrow, and epiphyllous buds develop at their tip region. So these buds, when touches the soil, it develops into a new plant. Next is natural vegetation advantages. So only one parent is required for propagation, and the new individual plants produced are genetically identical. And also it enables rapid spread of the same type of plant, example spinifex. And the horticulturists and farmers utilize these organs of natural vegetative reproduction for cultivation purpose and also for the harvesting purpose in large scale. Then the important disadvantage of natural vegetative reproduction is there is no genetic variation produced because all the individuals produced are genetically identical. Next, we'll see about the artificial method. So a number of other methods are used in agriculture and horticulture to propagate plants from their parts. So that method we call it as the artificial propagation. And some of the artificial propagation methods have been used by the man years since long time. So such methods we call it as the conventional method. So the some of the conventional methods are given, that is cutting, grafting and layering. So first we'll see what is cutting. So in this method of production, a new plant by cutting the plant parts such as root, stem and leaf from the parent plant. This usually we do at home. Even our grandparents might be using this technique to grow new plants. So the cut part is placed in a suitable medium for growth, and later on it produces roots and grows into a new plant. So this picture clearly shows that a cut part of the plant is separated, placed in a rooting medium or the suitable medium for the growth, and a new plant grows in another pot. Depending upon the part used, it is called as root cutting. Example, malus. Malus is apple. Then stem cutting. Examples are hibiscus, bougainvillea and moringa. The next is leaf cutting. Examples, begonia and bryophyllum. These are all some of the examples of different types of cutting based on the organs used, whether it may be root, stem and leaf. So stem cutting is widely used for the propagation. Next is grafting. So in this, parts of two different plants are joined so that they continue to grow as one plant. So of the two plants, the plant which is in contact with the soil is called as the stalk, or else it's called as the root stalk. And the plant used for grafting is called as the scion. So you can understand the plant which is in contact with the soil is called as the stalk, and the plant used for grafting is called as the scion. So examples are citrus, mango and apple. So in this picture you can clearly understand a small slit is made, and then later on scion is inserted into the slit and it is closed or tightly packed with a polythene sheet. So this type of vegetative reproduction is called as the grafting method. So here there are different types of grafting based on the method of uniting the stalk and scion. So they are bud grafting, approach grafting, tongue grafting, crown grafting and wedge grafting. First we'll see about the bud grafting. So in bud grafting, a T-shaped incision is made in the stalk and the bark is lifted. Then the scion bud with a little wood is placed in the incision beneath the bark and properly bandaged with a tape. So here you can see the T-shaped incision. Next is approach grafting. So in this method, both the scion and stalk remain rooted and the stalk is grown in a pot and is brought close to the scion. Both of them should have the same thickness. Then a small slice is cut from both the cut surface are brought near and tied together and held by a tape. Then later on, after 1 to 4 weeks, what happens? The tip of the stalk and the base of the scion are cut off and detached and grown in a separate pot. Next is tongue grafting. Here a scion and stalk having the same thickness is selected and it is cut obliquely and the scion is fit into the stalk and bound with a tape. Next is crown grafting. So when the stalk is large in size, scions are cut into a wedge shape and are inserted on the slits or clefts of the stalk and fixed in a position using a graft wax. So here many number of scions can be fixed. Next is wedge grafting. So in this method, a slit is made in the stalk or the bark is cut and a twig of the scion is inserted and tightly bound so that the cambium of the two is joined. So what is the purpose of cambium? Cambium helps in the secondary growth. So it heals the wound and initiates the growth of the stem. Next is layering. So in this method, the stem of the parent plant is allowed to develop roots while still intact. So when the roots develop, the rooted part is cut and planted to grow as a new plant. So examples are Ixora and another is the jasmine or jasminium. So there are two types of layering given for you. One is mound layering and another is the air layering. So first we look into the mound layering. So this method is applied for the plants having flexible branches. So mostly we will be selecting the lower branch with leaves that is bent to the ground and part of the stem is buried in the soil and the tip of the branch is exposed above the soil. After the roots emerge from the plant of the stem buried in the soil, a cut is made in the parent plant so that the buried part grow into a new plant. So this is not a new technique. Our grandparents and all have followed years since the new technique. Next is air layering. So in this method, the stem is girdled at nodal region and the hormones are applied to this region which promotes the rooting. So you can see in the first picture, you can see the girdled portion. So this portion is covered with damp or moist soil using a polythene sheet and even along with that you can include sphagnum moss which is a bryophyte which helps to retain the moisture content. Then the roots emerge in these branches after 2 to 4 months and such branches are removed from the parent plant and grown in a separate pot or ground. Example is ficus. So what are the advantages of conventional method? The plants produced are genetically uniform and they are produced quickly. And in some cases where there is very little or no seeds are produced, uh, plants can be vegetatively propagated by using these methods. So in a very short period. Example Solanum tuberosum, that is potato. Then you can also go for the desirable characters like disease resistant variety, high yielding variety, both can be grafted together and grown into a new plant. Even though there is one disadvantage. So what it is, if we are going to select the mother plant which is infected with the virus, then what happens to the offsprings? The offsprings will also be infected with the virus. So this is disadvantage of conventional method. And another one disadvantage is vegetative structures used for propagation are bulky and they are very difficult to handle and store. So in a nutshell, you can understand what is reproduction in plants. There are two major types. One is asexual reproduction and another is sexual reproduction. In asexual reproduction, you can see in lower plants and also in higher plants. So in lower plants like budding, regeneration, etc. can be seen. In higher plants, you can see natural methods and the artificial method. In natural method, depending on the organs used, we differentiate into root, stem and leaf. And in artificial method, we prefer the conventional method. In conventional method, there are again three major types. One is cutting, grafting, and another is layering. And in grafting, you can see bud grafting, approach grafting, tongue grafting, crown grafting, and wedge grafting. And in layering, you can see mound grafting and air layering. So children, I hope you understood the video. That is the asexual reproduction in plants. So now this is the question time. Are you ready? Hope you are ready. So you can take one paper and start writing the answers. 5 questions will be asked. Let's start. A biological process in which an organism gives rise to young ones similar to itself is called dash. Next question. Yeast reproduces asexually by dash. Next, give 2 examples for tuberous and adventitious roots. Next, give 2 examples for leaf cutting. Next question. The unit of reproductive structure used in propagation is called dash. Children, I hope you all answered all the questions. Shall we check? Reproduction, budding, Hypomea batatas and dahlia, begonia, bryophyllum. The next is the reproductive propagules of diaspores. Wow, I think you got it and congratulations, those who have got all correct. If not, please check the video again and redo the answers. And thank you for watching, children. And hope you understood this video. If you have any doubts, feel free to put it in the comment box. If this video is useful to you, make it useful to your friends also. And once again, thank you for watching. Hit a like, share, comment and subscribe Anita's Biology. Thank you.